Welcome to Fright Night. For real. Alright, if you haven't guessed, the next movie in my... What is that? Oh, it's the window. The next movie in my ABC review series is Fright Night from 1985. And yes, this was a late edition. I had a different movie in there. I changed up some here or there. Kind of set certain things up for future months and review series and stuff like that. But we are talking about Fright Night, starring Chris Sarandon, Roddy McDowall, Amanda Pierce, and William Ragsdale, and is directed by Tom Holland. No, not that Tom Holland. Child's Play Tom Holland, the director, not the Spider-Man actor. It's very confusing. You mention Tom Holland and think, oh, Spider-Man! And I'm like, no. The director, he directed Child's Play and this and Thinner, the Stephen King movie based on the book. The story here is that a character, Charlie Brewster, is next door with his girlfriend, is in his house with his girlfriend, I should say, and he notices that next door he has a new neighbor and someone is bringing in a coffin. He watches this TV show hosted by Peter Vincent, played by Roddy McDowall, which is a mashup of the names of Peter Cushing and Vincent Price. And he believes his next door neighbor Jerry Dandridge, played by Chris Sarandon, is a vampire, and he actually sees the fangs himself as he's seducing a woman. And yes, so now he's on a journey to kill him, and to make things worse, for some reason he goes after Charlie's girlfriend, who looks like someone that Jerry used to be with, like a descendant or something. Yeah, so first and foremost, let's talk about the background with me in this movie. So, back when the remake was coming out, back when the remake was coming out, my friend and I saw this in a red box. I'm not friends with him anymore, but we saw this in a red box, and we thought it was the remake. So we didn't realize there was an original one, so we thought it was the one that was coming out, or had come out. We don't know why it was in there, but we rented it, put it in, and it wasn't what we thought it was. This doesn't look like, wasn't like, and so we looked it up, and I think this is the original one. This isn't the one. I guess there's one from the 80s. This isn't the one. So because it wasn't the one we wanted to watch, we took it out and didn't even try to watch it. That was one of the worst decisions we have ever made. We should have watched the movie. This movie is fantastic. You could tell this is peak 80s, 1985. There's the music, the lingo, the language, the clothes they wear. It's 80s. Like Jerry wears a sweater and this at one point that is just like so 80s sweater type thing. But yeah, the music is very good. Does it say who did the music? Brad Fidel. Good music. And the Fright Night theme song by the Jay Giles Band that plays at the end of this is actually pretty good too. And the effects in this are pretty good, but there is one scene, which I'll get to when I talk through the movie, but there is one scene that I think, while the effects are really good, I don't find it necessary. But we'll get to that. So, like I said, this film starts with Charlie and his girlfriend, and he's got the TV show Fright Night, which is hosted by Peter Vincent. This some sort of like Vincent Price, Peter Cushing type character who hosts a TV show where they play certain kind of movies, vampire movies basically. And he's obsessed with it. He's not paying attention to his girlfriend, so his girlfriend says, "Peace out," and she leaves. And he, during this, he also sees the coffin be brought in, and then eventually catches Jerry with the fangs, and Jerry sees him because he can sense him, I guess. He tries to tell his best friend, Evil Ed, yes, that is his name, and just a little sidebar here, Evil Ed is the most annoying character in the entire fucking movie. I mean, he coins the phrase, "Oh, you're so cool, Brewster," but he just... Spoiler alert, he gets bit and turned into a vampire at some point in the film, and he becomes even more annoying. I can't stand him. I get that's probably what he was supposed to be, the annoying character, but it works too well. The actor is too good at being that character. But, yeah, so... Yeah, and, once again, Charlie's girlfriend, Amy, tries to, reconcile with him, and he gets distraction from the story of the murders on the TV, and she gets pissed. And I'm like, what are you getting pissed about? It's the news. He can't watch the news? It feels like she just wants attention. And if there's no attention on her, it's not worth being there or something. Because it's like, he's not doing anything wrong. He's just watching the news. I mean, it's not like you were trying to make out or have sex with him. You're in the middle of like a diner or something talking to him. Maybe it's a cafeteria. Might have the news playing in there, I don't know. But, yeah. So, yes. So, that night, he sees Jerry with a woman, and he gets the fang, and this is what Jerry senses him in the window, and when he tries to tell his mom that Jerry has fangs, she doesn't believe him, so he runs out and catches Jerry with a bag with something in it, like a garbage bag with something in it, as he and his caretaker, Bill, who is the only one seen walking in the daylight, by the way, hint, 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 but they're carrying something out, and he's hiding in the bushes, and you get this nice kind of tense scene where Jerry realizes that he's there. He's eating this apple. He throws the apple down in front of him, and with intention to grab it and kind of scare him, but it already freaks him out. Charlie's mom comes out yelling for him, and fearing for his mom's safety and also having fear from Jerry, he jumps out and runs into the house. This, really tells Jerry that he suspects him. So the next night, when he comes home, he finds that Jerry is in his house because Brewster tells, or not Brewster, Ed tells him, you're fine as long as your mom doesn't invite the vampire into your house. And then goes home and he's been invited in. He goes, now that I've been invited in, I'll come around as much as I want. And I think he realizes what he says, because he goes, if it's okay with your mother, of course. And she goes, yes, of course. And I'm just like, he just basically threatened your son there. But yes, of course. Of course. Come around anytime. And Jerry does show up there that night to attack him and throw him through his closet. And he starts changing into the vampire. But the mom interrupts and Jerry disappears. The mom comes in and asks what's going on. And Charlie says, oh, it's just a nightmare. Did she not see the big old hole in your closet? What kind of nightmare is that? But the next day, he once again tries to convince his friend, and he says that he needs Peter Vincent to come along. So the girlfriend pays off Peter Vincent to come and do his thing. He says he has a vial of what he says is holy water, but it's not, because he doesn't believe the stuff. He believes this is fake. He's just a movie actor, right? And so he has Jerry drink it. She does, and it doesn't do anything because it's just really real water. But there is something here that made me scratch my head a little bit. Because, like, the holy water, he's not afraid of the holy water, but he is, about to throw it in the thing. Like, if he's prepared to throw it, that he's basically saying he's not going to drink it, then something in the way that Peter Vincent is talking convinces him that it's just regular water, so he drinks it. But then because Charlie, see, this is to convince Charlie that he's not a vampire, but Charlie has seen the fangs, he's seen him transform into a vampire, so this isn't going to work. And you think that, Jerry would know that. But it doesn't work, so he pulls out the cross, and Jerry backs up. And, you think that reaction would solicit something from the others, but they just ignore it. Like, oh, no. Come on. And it's not till Peter sees no reflection in the mirror that he has that it, hits him that he is really a vampire. But because he's a fake and not really vampire hunter, he runs away from the situation. And then that's another thing I'm just like, I understand he's fake, but you said yourself that the proof is that there's, no reflection, and you have proof. So instead of saying anything to him, saying, hey, you're right, you're absolutely right. No, he's like, I'm gonna leave. I'm not gonna be here. I'm gonna leave. Roddy McDowell's pretty good in this, by the way, but he's out. But eventually it is revealed to Charlie that she paid him off. But they go to a club for some reason. This is they're leaving. They're walking home, and Evil Ed plays a joke on him, and that's why he becomes very annoying. And they leave him, and Jerry attacks him and turns him into a vampire. And he goes after Peter Vincent while Jerry stalks Amy at this nightclub that they go to for some reason. And this is where it's very creepy that the hundreds-of-year-old vampire is hitting on a 17-year-old girl. I'm assuming they're 17 if they're in high school. I don't know if they're 18 yet, but I'm assuming she's under the age of 18, and it's very weird. I know the actress was over the age of 18. She would be a Marcy Darcy shortly after this on Married with Children. But I don't know. It's really weird to think that this 100-year-old vampire guy is stalking she's got to be under the age of 18 at least 17-year-old girl in a nightclub, and they're just dancing, and this guy who still appears to be in his 40s at this point is with this obvious supposed to be teenage girl, and no one does anything about it, and they're dancing on the dance floor, and he's like, well, where'd you go? And yes, and eventually this leads him to seduce her to his house, where he shows up with no shirt on, which makes it even more creepier, and she takes her top off, which makes it even more creepier, and then he bites her. You don't see anything, but he bites her, and so Charlie goes to Peter Vincent, who is still scared, but he shows up anyway to help him. He has to cross, but we get the intro. Welcome to Fright Night. For real. And he has to cross, but plot twist, I guess. You have to have faith for it to work. But he used the cross on Evil Ed earlier, and it burnt Evil Ed. So why doesn't it work here? Faith or not? it burnt Evil Ed. So why did it work then but not here? Maybe it's because he's a newly formed vampire, so he's not as strong. I don't know. It worked on Evil Ed and it doesn't work for Jerry. I don't know. But, so, because we can't have the big showdown yet, because we still got 30 minutes left of this film, Peter goes over next door to check on Charlie's mom, which we find out she's working nights. Charlie should already know that, but he goes there and it's Evil Ed in a wig, and we get the most annoying Evil Ed, where it's like, she's working nights. And he's like, dinner is in the oven. Doing that voice. I need a drink. Hold on. Excuse me. Whew. And that voice hurt my throat a little bit. Sorry. But yes, and this is where we have one of the best effects in the film. But it's also the most unnecessary. So, as Peter Vincent tries to leave, he hears a noise, he turns around, and we see that Evil Ed is turned into a wolf. And this is one thing I've never liked about vampires. Oh, they can shape-shift into wolves. And it goes back to, Bram Stoker's Dracula, the novel, and stuff like that. And the original movie with Bela Lugosi. But I've never liked it. Because, vampires are supposed to turn into bats. Not wolves. That's werewolves. I never got that. But he turns into a wolf and he attacks him, and of course he gets staked. And we see him slowly turn back into Evil Ed. While these effects are very good, they're fantastic effects, why does it take longer for him to turn back into human, but he turned into the wolf like that? I guess you could say that because he was stabbed, that's why it takes longer, but it only serves to show you the effects of the movie. This is one of the better effect scenes. And it just feels like it's put in there to waste time. Because he turned into a wolf like that, but it takes 5 minutes in total for him to turn back. And it feels like they're trying to put filler in there for the runtime. But, I don't know. After this, Peter runs back to the house to confront Jerry, and he now has faith. Because you gotta have faith. You gotta have faith. Oh, you gotta have faith. You gotta have faith. Ah, baby, I know. Okay. So he shows up, and at this point, Jerry has already thrown Charlie in the room with a turning Amy, and she has the goofy mouth effect. This thing, which is okay, I guess, but then she turns full vampire and she's got bigger boobs for some reason and more hair, which when Jerry transforms, it looks like he has less hair. Usually, the vampire transformation would make you go bald. Sometimes there's vampires that are just bald. But she has more hair and bigger boobs for some reason. And I guess Amanda Bierce carries her fake bust with her to conventions and encourages fans to touch it. So, please, come touch my boobs. But yes, Jerry turns into a big bird monster as he's being killed by the sun. Which I guess was supposed to be in Ghostbusters, but they said it was too scary. I don't know, there's a lot of scary imagery. I was scared of the dog when I was younger. And Vigo, but that's not the point. And they say that once they kill Jerry, Amy should turn back if it's done before sun up. Dawn. And they kill Jerry with the sun and stuff, and Amy is turned back to normal. Now, I thought Amy was going to stay a vampire, because she's not in the sequel as far as I looked up. But no, she's human by the end of this, and I was still waiting for a twist where she bit him and said that she faked the thing, but obviously he would know by this point, but no, she's fully human by the end of this. And we cut back to a familiar scene like the beginning of the movie where they're making out in his room and Fright Night's on the TV and Peter Vincent says we're moving away from vampires this time, and they're showing a movie with aliens. And then Charlie notices some red eyes in the window across the street, but just shakes it off like, nah, never mind. And he goes back to making out with Amy, and then we hear, "Oh, you're so cool, Brewster." And I went, no, come on. Really? How the hell is he alive? It's hinting that he's alive, but I hear he's not in the sequel, so who knows? I haven't done any research on the sequel, but there is a sequel, which I will be doing. It's on YouTube if you want to watch it, but I've looked for the DVD. That's very hard to find on DVD and Blu-ray. So I found it on YouTube. I even searched on my Roku to see if I can find some kind of service that's streaming it. Nothing. So YouTube it is, and that'll be probably in March. Because I have plans to do something in March, but we'll just wait on that announcement for a little while. But in regards to this movie, Fright Night, fantastic film. I'm going to say it's pretty good. Evil Ed kind of ruined it for me a little bit. He was too freaking annoying. And I'm hoping he's not as annoying in the remake. He's played by Christopher Mintz-Plasse, so maybe. But eventually I'll do that one too. But yeah, definitely recommend it if you're doing like an 80s horror binge night. Definitely put this in. But yeah, so we're moving on now to the letter G. And I'm not going to tell you anything about it, because if I did, then you'd know. And knowing is half the battle. Until then, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.